restaurants in the distance as I do. Now, in just a moment though, alongside of our new trees, you also see some of these little hollies or houses. Now these all represent or kind of replicate some parts of ancient Hawaiian homes or like hollies, which we'll kind of see in a little bit as well. Now here, this one is known as a hale wa'a or a canoe house on your right hand side, and it's basically like a garage. Back in ancient days, people would use these spaces to store their canoes, okay? Basically their transportation. Now, in just a moment, the reason we mainly go through our agricultural area is because we do have some movie site locations alongside, of course, the things that we grow, raise, harvest, and produce here on the property. Now, we'll look to your right-hand side. You guys see all that in the middle right there where you guys see the big rocks as well as those two TVs in between. Has anyone ever seen the movie Kong, Skull Island?
Yes.
With Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, John Goodman. A whole bunch of people are in this movie, okay? Now here on your right happens to be the end of the movie, if you guys can recall, right before they get into a battle with Kong, okay? Now Samuel L. Jackson is standing on those rocks over there. In front of him is this giant lake, and Kong is all the way on the left-hand side, okay? If you guys can recall, this is where they go head-to-head, where they put the napalm inside of the lake, and Samuel L. Jackson actually throws a torch in the lake, sets it on fire, and it sets Kong on fire. They kill him, but if you guys can recall, this specific scene happens right over here, okay? The Battle of Midway, and basically here on your left-hand side, this area actually plays as China in the movie because you guys remember Sergeant Doolittle, he gets captured by the enemy and he's taken to China. Here on your left-hand side, of course, again, welcome to China. Look at us, traveling the world in a matter of minutes, okay? Kualoa Ranch is famous for transforming into different places of the world by Hollywood, okay? Now here far on the left, if you guys look straight toward the mountain and you look down, you see these two big rock formations right here. This is what we call our kissing gorilla heads because they look like two gorillas kissing each other. You guys kind of see that, right? Yeah. We use that as a backdrop for different TV shows and movies, such as George of the Jungle, starring Brendan Fraser, and also the TV show Lost. A good 75% of the entire series was filmed here on the property. A lot of fun stuff, especially at our secret island location. But they were the most expensive TV show, or actually production in general, to take place here on the property. It took them about $2 to $3 million every episode to film because of the casting crew and the sets that they brought over. Okay, here on your right-hand side. Now, in just a moment, though, just so you guys know, we do raise all these animals specifically for their meat, yes, and you can actually find everything that we grow, raise, produce, harvest here on the property, actually. But basically here on the right is an indigenous tree called ulu. Okay, ulu in English translates into breadfruit, and you might see some of the fruit hanging down. It can actually grow to be the size of a cantaloupe, so they're pretty big, okay? However, the reason we call it breadfruit is that if you bake it, it smells like bread, but it has the consistency of a potato. But poi comes from this plant right over here, as well as our laulau and other parts of our main dishes. This is our main staple for our people, okay? You guys might come from places where your main staple is like rice or potatoes, papaya trees, and also more of our apple banana trees as well. Now, in just a moment in front of us, you're going to see what our piggery. We have 3 different types of pigs that we grow here on the property. And yes, these pigs are used for bacon and pork chops, okay? So sorry. Also, too, some of our piglets are also in here. Hi, baby. Now, of course, again, everything that we raise, produce, harvest, grow here on the property, you can find at our Kualoa Grown Market after this tour is over. Now, we raise 3 different types of pigs as well as 3 different types of chickens that you'll see in this chicken here on your left-hand side. And we'll also have our turkey pen on the left-hand side as well. Hi there. Now, alongside of our turkeys, we also have God's chosen tree is called a cacao tree. Basically what they use to make chocolate, okay, here on your left-hand side. All of our chocolate is produced with a company called Manoa Chocolates that is in Kailua. We have a honey farm, more cacao. We also have marijuana, kiwi. I'm just kidding, guys. We're not going to kiwi. It's just a joke, okay? Now, all the way in the back also, we have some mango trees and countless other things grown here on the northern agricultural area of Kualoa Ranch. Southern ag lands, we actually grow a whole bunch of other stuff, such as our coffee, as well as our macadamia nuts, our star fruit, and some pineapple as well. Okay. ears, heading into more of the movies coming up in just a moment. But as I mentioned to you guys earlier, Ka'a'ama Valley is also known to us by its English nickname, which is Jurassic Valley, okay? Now this is the heart of Ka'a'ama, or Jurassic Valley, okay? Because this is where all three of our mountains basically meet, okay? Now, also, if you guys have seen the movie Jurassic World, I'm going to explain to you some things you might notice from the movie here on your left-hand side, okay? Now, if you guys look straight ahead here on the left, this is our Kualoa mountain range. We're just on the other side of it. This is where they CGI'd the monorail, okay? So where Zach and his brother Gray to get to every ride on Isla Nublar, bless you, sir, back here, this is where they CGI'd that monorail. Now, in this pasture, also on your left-hand side, is where they had that pin scour Jeep you might have taken pictures with at our first location. This is where they end up riding to the Jeep, and the Gallimimus herd kind of runs around them. It's a ride on Isla Nublar. Last but definitely not least, she actually looks like she does in the movie, but that mountain peak all the way in the back, her name in Hawaiian is Ohulehule. And Ohulehule plays the erupting volcano from Jurassic World falling king to us shortly. And we're going to start off actually with the OG 1993 Jurassic Park. Now, by raise of hands, how many of you have seen Jurassic? It is our most devastating hurricane had come through the islands and destroyed Kauai in general, okay? So it took them a long time to repair and kind of get back up and running. But because of that, Steven Spielberg went back to Hollywood, but he still had one scene left to film. And of course, someone he worked with during Indiana Jones told him about Kualoa. And that's why, of course, more or less more people know about Kualoa Ranch as associated with Jurassic Park. Now here on your right hand side, you guys are going to see a TV show poster for Lost. This happens to be Hurley's golf course. If you guys can recall from season 2, Hurley ends up building a 2-hole golf course to kind of just boost morale for everyone on the island. Notice Hollywood loves to make this area, and of course Kualoa in general, somewhere it's really not. For example, of course, if you guys were in the bunker earlier, you might have seen some of the movies that have taken place here that are in different countries. For example, Tears of the Sun. It's supposed to take place in a country, or technically it's supposed to be in Nigeria. Welcome to Nigeria, okay? If you guys have seen Karate Kid Part 2, parts of that have been filmed here on the property as well. And of course, welcome to Okinawa, because if you guys know, that is supposed to take place in Okinawa, okay? Now, last but not least, of course, in just a moment, before we start heading to our second stop here on the tour, we're going to see what we call in Hawaiian a kauhale, or known as a community of homes or houses. Right hand side, you're going to see what we call, again, a halewa'a. You guys might recognize it from when we were in ag lands, but it is a canoe house, kind of like a garage. Next to it on the left, with the big wall, is going to be known as a halemoi, or a sleeping quarters, okay? Last but not least, all the way on the left-hand side, with the 2 hales or houses that don't have a big as a wall, are going to be for dining purposes, or mea'ai. Basically, back in ancient days, or aikapu is what we call it in Hawaiian.
It's here.
Basically, men and women weren't allowed to eat together, okay, in spaces like this. It was known as kampu, or forbidden. Now, consequences for eating together were high, such as death. Obviously, it's the highest consequence, basically, for a lot of things. But here on the left-hand side, again, we had one hale or house for men, and of course, one hale or house to eat, okay? Now, in just a moment, as we're passing our kauhale, here on your right, we're going to be coming into, around the corner, our next stop, which happens to come from the movie Kong Skull Island. Now, basically, this is the boneyard, and this is going to be a spoiler alert, but the movie came out in 2017, so you guys might want to get it together and watch it, okay? But, spoiler alert, here, this is the boneyard, where John Goodman ends up getting eaten by a skullcrawler, and when they're under attack, if you guys can recall. Now, in just a moment, as we come out, we're going to let you guys have some fun. You guys are more than welcome to come on out and take pictures with our set, but there are some instructions for you. First and foremost, I do ask that you do not pick up the bones, okay? You'll notice that they're made out of styrofoam, okay? Styrofoam, rubber, and plaster with a good paint job. So again, I do ask that you do not pick up the bones, but feel free to walk around, and please don't sit on them either, because they'll break easily. We want to preserve this spot, not just for us, but for the tourists to come, okay? Last but not least, on the far right hand side, if you would like to sit on that dead tree log and that sit on Kong over there, please feel free to, okay? But
like he has to be with them to tell them like to help like monitor.
Confirm location. Dito sa Bones ads. Oh. Giinag ayo. Franco. This do not touch. This do not touch. Dito sa kanang Bones ads. Or that one, the skull. At the skull. Oops. Let's go to the skull first. How long is it? 90 minutes. I have no idea what time. This is the shortest one. Let's go to
And then it suddenly rained, so we have to run to the bus
Alright
and
guys, real
stop
quick,
our
I'm
picture
gonna let
taking.
this.
Mr. Jurassic Park movie set.
Happens to be the transportation shed scene. If you remember, this is where Ruby Roundhouse ends up activating her fight dance, okay? It is where we have two jets streaming through the valley right over our mountain peak here in front of us, right before the bombing takes place, okay? Wind Talkers, has anyone seen Wind Talkers by any chance? Like which? But here on the right actually plays a lot of the battle scenes from the movie, okay? Now on the right will be the bunker, on the left the beautiful view of Kaaba Valley and also to the beach side of Rainbow Beach.
There. Okay. Okay, here we go. Can't go to the cars and it's still raining, so we purchased these ponchos. Gitagana dyan sa mukha, ganun siya. Your... Let's go. Adi, put your head. Why are you so conscious with the raincoat? My God, it's just a raincoat. Going next to our next destination. Oh my God, it's raining. We just had our movie seat 4 and we're done. We chose the perfect time. Now we have to use this poncho. See you later, guys. Bye. Because they said life is precious.
They're clearly choosing to die.
I like the water here. It looks really blue.
Yeah, it looks nice, but it's deep.
You know, I think actually
It's deep.
It's cloudy though.
the reason why the water is always